Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video here to once again continue my coverage of the Steam Spring Sale with games under the price of $5. This is the area where there's just like a billion games at this price point. Really, it's just like every price threshold, honestly, but under $5, it's just wild because a lot of games will decide to go under $5, but at that point, that's the cap. Under 5, under 4, I like to do videos under 3, so really it's like $3 to $5 that we're covering in this video, but that $4 to $5 range is for a lot of publishers like the basement of what they'll let their games get down to, and below that they won't really touch. So with that being said, there's a lot of deals in this price threshold, but I got about 12-13 deals here. So let's get right into it and let's start things off with AI the Somnium Files. I think this is a phenomenal gateway into visual novels. The game is 90% off for $3.99, and it's a fantastic detective mystery style game. An awesome main character in Kaname Date, which I bring up the fact of a great main character because that is an integral component to a story-driven visual novel like this. You need a compelling main character, and Kaname is just a super likable character. You have a pretty cool gimmick to the game as well in these dream sequences. It's just a fairly well-done story. $3.99, a great price. There is a sequel, The Nirvana Initiative, but definitely play Somnium Files, and you don't even have to play the Nirvana Initiative if you don't want to. It's not as good as Somnium Files, but still a fairly good game. That's on sale for $15, but yeah, Somnium Files, $3.99, great deal there. Walking Dead, the Telltale Definitive Series at 90% off for $4.99. I mean, I talked about this deal ad nauseum. This deal is just straight up insane for all of the content that you get. Walking Dead Season 1, Walking Dead Season 2, Walking Dead Season 3, Walking Dead Season 4, 400 Days, and the Michonne miniseries. It's just an insane amount of content for your dollar, and for $4.99, it is a phenomenal deal. Now, obviously, these games are very much story-driven, narrative-based games with some decision-making, but it's not like you've got a lot of action-oriented gameplay. You're not going to be, you know, slaughtering zombies left and right in an action game. That's not what this game is, but from a storytelling standpoint, it's really well done, and for $4.99, a great deal there. Next up, HELLDIVERS Dive Harder Edition, 80% off for $3.99. This is the first HELLDIVERS game. Yes, it came out back in 2015, and I played this game right when it came out, and I loved HELLDIVERS 1. I thought it was a great game. That's why I was talking up the release of HELLDIVERS 2, and I was excited for HELLDIVERS 2 well before, you know, a lot of other people really picked up on it and realized that the game was going to be, like, fantastic, but that was from me knowing what Arrowhead was capable of in creating just over-the-top action co-op titles, and they did a great job with HELLDIVERS 1. It's a little bit different than HELLDIVERS 2, but it's got that same charm. It's still got that same wackiness to it, zaniness almost, and it's a really, really fun game. Even if you play it solo, I think there's some fun to be had, but yeah, 80% off, excuse me, for $3.99. 90% positive reception on that game. $4, great deal there. Next up, we got Final Fantasy VII, 60% off for $4.79. I always say I think Final Fantasy VII, the original, is still very much worth playing, but I would recommend you to install the Echo S mod. That mod includes full voice acting. It's a fan-made voice-acted mod, and I was blown away. I was blown away by what that group was able to do. I don't know who they are. I just heard that there was this voice acting mod for Final Fantasy VII, installed it, updated visuals. It's tremendous. It's legitimately... Echo S quite possibly could be my favorite mod that I've ever used in my life, because it's for one of my favorite games of all time in Final Fantasy VII, and you're taking one of my favorite games of all time and you're making it even better. Like, oh, thank you. Whoever was involved in that, thank you. You took one of my favorite games and you made it even better, so I appreciate it. But yeah, install that mod, enjoy, and it's a great time. Even if you're playing the remake, the original is still very much worth playing, and for $4.79, great deal there. Next up, Dead Space 2, 80% off for $3.99. Good deal for Dead Space 2. I'm sure a lot of you guys played the Dead Space remake. Dead Space 2 probably is never going to get remade, but it's still very much worth playing from the original. I mean, the original Dead Space still held up decently well enough, and Dead Space 2 is a great action survival horror game. $3.99 is a great pickup for that. Definitely go play Dead Space 1, but Dead Space 2, a solid outing as well. Valkyria Chronicles is 75% off for $4.99. I absolutely loved Valkyria Chronicles, and it it was one of those games that just got such a random PC port, much like Enslaved Odyssey to the West, which I always also always recommend. Wasn't expecting it, but then it got ported, and it was a great game when it came out in 2008, and it retained being a great game in 2014 when it got ported, and it's just a really well done tactics JRPG. I think this is a pretty good JRPG to play, even if you're not a big fan of JRPGs, just because from a story standpoint, it doesn't fall into a lot of JRPG tropes. Like, it's just a good war story that I think is pretty solid and great art style. Even, I mean, this year would be 17 years since Valkyria Chronicles came out. Still holds up really well. So definitely recommend that. Next up, A Way Out, 85% off for $4.49. Remember that this game is co-op only, but there's been a lot of attention on Hazelight Studios and Split Fiction. I think Split Fiction is such a good game that if you're the kind of person that hates having friends, you should make a friend just to play Split Fiction, because that's how good Split Fiction is. But no, seriously, these games are so good, and they only work in the co-op style. Hazelight has found their niche, and they're running home with it, and incredibly captivating games. A Way Out was their second game, I guess, if you want to look at it, because the team worked on Brother A Tale of Two Sons, or Joseph Fares worked on Brother A Tale of Two Sons, and A Way Out was a really solid title. A lot of twists and turns, narrative driven, a solid one, but not super lengthy, but that makes it worthwhile. And remember, with these games, you could invite somebody to play for free, so that's quite nice. $4.49 for that. Great pickup there. Next up, we got Dying Light 10th Anniversary Edition, 80% off for $3.99. Awesome deal for Dying Light. A great open world parkour survival horror game. Less so on the horror aspect. Like, yeah, you got zombies, but it's not like this is a super scary game or anything like that. But from an action standpoint, the parkour platforming, really well done, and definitely a worthwhile playthrough there as well. One of the best, like, PC optimized games that I played in that era, like 2015. This game ran beautifully well. Steam Deck verified, of course, and yeah, great stuff there with Dying Light. I mean, it must be Steam Deck verified given the fact that it ran on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I believe it was Saber Interactive that ported this game to the Nintendo Switch, which is insane, but you know, they figured it out, so good for them. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, 90% off for $3.99. I think Jedi Fallen Order is a great game. Jedi Survivor is an even better game when you talk about the content of the game and not just the PC port. Fallen Order is great from a combat standpoint. It's the introduction of Cal as a character, and they build him up great. The map design is absolutely pitiful. It's an atrocity, to say the least. But, you know, overall, the game is great. Visuals are great. And for $3.99, a good pickup there. Sonic Adventure 2 is 50% off for $4.99. I mean, this is an all-time classic platformer. Awesome soundtrack, great gameplay. And, yeah, a lot of us grew up with this game. So going back and playing it, definitely worthwhile. And for $5, a great pickup there. They got to remake this game. Sonic Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, those games deserve ground-up remakes. Like, Sonic is hot right now. Could you imagine if Adventure got a ground-up remake? People would be so excited. With the momentum that Sonic has right now, man, I think a Sonic Adventure remake would do so well, but that's my 2 cents. $4.99 for Adventure 2, good pickup there. Castle Crashers, 70% off for $4.49. Now, this has been down to like $1.49, I want to say, or maybe it was like $2, whatever. It's been a little bit cheaper, but this is still a great co-op action game that definitely is worthwhile to play, and I would recommend it. I would recommend you to play it with a couple of friends. I think that's how you're going to have the most enjoyable experience possible, but you know, if you want to play it solo, you can do that as well. $4.49 for Castle Crashers. Far Cry 3, 75% off for $4.99. You're playing this game for the single player. Multiplayer and online features are no longer available, but man, Far Cry 3 is what took the Far Cry franchise to the next level. I know people loved Far Cry 2 and Far Cry 1, but Far Cry 3, I feel like, again, elevated the franchise. People loved the main villain in this game, the open world, the action, all of that was so well done, and still a pretty decent looking game visually. I remember initially playing it back in 2012. It was one of the first games I played moving to PC gaming. It was this, Hitman Absolution, and a couple of other games from 2012, but Far Cry 3 blew me away from a visual standpoint, and definitely a solid pickup there at that price. And then lastly, Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, 80% off for $3.99. Excellent deal for Ori and the Blind Forest. Beautiful art direction, a great Metroidvania, solid soundtrack, and the atmosphere in this game, the aesthetics, all of that is really well done, creating an incredibly engrossing world. Emotional story as well for $3.99. Great pickup there. Definitely recommend that. And then you can play Will of the Wisps as well. Moon Studio moved on to doing No Rest for the Wicked, and that game's in early access, but it would be great to see them go back to Ori. That'll be doing it for me. Again, a lot of great deals under the price of $5. Links to all of these in the description box below. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know what you pick up during the spring sale, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.